What we have here today is a big question from DC Comics. Is Batman's no-killing rule justified, or is it just flat out stupid? We'll be talking about specifics from DC, but also just discussing the philosophical question in general. On the right-hand side, we have the group that believes that you shouldn't kill villains, and that Batman's rule is justified. On the left side, we have the group that believes Batman's rule doesn't make sense, and villains should be silenced for good. This debate was somewhat inspired by the Punisher and Daredevil rooftop scene, so let's see what the crew thinks.
Hi, my name is OC, and I personally believe that the no killing rule for Batman is justified for the most part. It's a good rule for him to uphold, especially for himself.
Hi, my name is Chuku. I am also for the Batman rule. I think it's justified. I will admit, in certain contexts, especially in the DC universe, there are times where I would be against it. But overall, if we're talking about life context, I think it's really well justified because I think that humans are very complex creatures and that our development is really, it's not about where you start, it's where you end up. So.
Hi, my name is Christine, and I actually think that the Batman rule, I think for the most part, it's foolish. He should kill the villains, and rightfully so, because they destroy lives.
What's up, guys? My name is Scott, and I am against the no-kill rule just because I feel like it's caused a lot of deaths in the DC universe, and I do feel like it has some applications in real life as well. Statement number 1, the Batman should kill the Joker. Agree or disagree?
Are we doing it right now?
Yeah,
okay.
We're doing it right now. Okay, sweet. So everyone who agreed, stay. Everyone who disagreed will leave the shot right now. And then we'll go for 2 minutes.
OC talks to himself.
Straight up, he should just kill the Joker because he's taken a lot of lives, basically. And he's just gonna keep doing it. He keeps getting out of Arkham and killing people. He should just take out the Joker. Even Red Hood said it, you know?
Agreed. I think so too. You hit it spot on. He has killed so many people, and he has manipulated people too, even when he's in jail or in like an asylum or something like that.
Yeah, 100% agree. I can understand I guess one counter argument is that it helps Batman, but that's the only issue with it. It helps Batman. Other people, they're always being screwed over. I mean, he's responsible for Harley Quinn, which is also another person who screwed things over. So at the end of the day, Joker would be better if he was gone.
All right, no, I disagree that I don't think that Batman should kill the Joker. The reason the Batman has this rule is for a personal conviction. He believes that if he breaks that rule once, he's not going to be able to stop. And so that's not to say that I don't think that the Joker should be killed. I just don't think that Batman should be the one to do it. That's my main thing.
Okay, I fully agree with you.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think Batman should do it because, okay, Batman's no-kill rule for himself makes sense.
Yes.
But the issue is, for whatever reason, I mean, obviously it's a comic book, but like Joker just, nobody else wants to kill him. I'm guaranteed a lot of people do, but for some reason they just don't.
The thing is that ideally you want him to be, tried in court and like convicted by a jury and then killed. Like that should be the way that it should go. I suppose because of the corruption of Gotham that's like hasn't managed to happen, but that's the ideal situation.
Well, I don't agree with that. My ideal situation would be Joker dying. Like, I don't think he should be tried in court.
In my version.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm curious. I don't know if I can ask a different question, but I guess my other question is, should Batman be allowed to save the Joker if someone's trying to kill him?
Ooh, interesting question. I mean, he does, so.
He technically does, but is that right for him to do that, though? Basically, if he knows someone's going to kill the Joker and that's their purpose, should he be trying to save the Joker in that context?
Oh, like, should
I say no, but like when Batman's there, he saves the Joker all the time.
See, that's where I disagree. Yeah, that's the only thing I disagree. I think that
this is the thing, though, because who has the ultimate question here with Batman's rule is who has the moral authority to kill somebody? Because according to Batman, because of that rule, he believes that he as an individual or one individual person does not have the authority to kill somebody else, which is why we should, have like counsel in order to decide, okay, this person deserves to die. And, that's why he takes them to Arkham and hopes that the system will be able to do this. Unfortunately, the system is corrupted, but according to Batman's rule, he believes that a system is better than an individual making that that jump because an individual doesn't have that authority, but we give that authority to systems.
Next statement. It's completely okay that many heroes from the MCU have killed villains. Okay, so clearly in the MCU, we see the heroes kill villains all the time. In fact, Tony Stark did the best, not the best, but the most. He killed the most.
Yeah.
Snapped out of existence. Basically, all of those guys are done. They're gone. And they're villains. Obviously, they were trying to kill everyone. So this sort of, lends to the fact that it's better to kill the villains that are just so powerful that they're gonna eventually end up killing everyone else, like Thanos did.
Yeah, I think, again, it really depends because, like, although OC brought up a good point about that with the authority to kill, who has the authority to kill, at the same time, some people don't have the power. Like, you can't put Thanos in the justice system or things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work. So sometimes in that case, whoever has the power to do it has the right to do it. And in that case, if it's some person like Tony or even Captain Marvel, they have the right. They'll do it. It's fine.
Okay.
So.
All right. So I disagree that it's okay that the MCU, the Avengers kill people regularly. In some instances, I would say it's justified, but not in every single instance. We even see that with T'Challa when he's about to kill Zemo and he stops himself. So.
I think what you said in the last statement got to me, and how who really does have the moral authority to, kill someone. And had they been able to capture them or capture all the villains and then sit down and talk about it, vote amongst themselves and say like, oh, this guy does deserve to die based off of his crimes, I think that would have been okay. But, right on the spot, it really depends on the situation.
Right.
And how powerful the villain is.
Okay, so it looks like this one was more of a it depends type of thing.
Yeah.
It depends. I think that in situations like with Tony Stark that you mentioned, that's more of a war. Like that's like a literal battle.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And so in those situations, obviously you're killing in order to
Survive.
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
But so leading back to the Joker it's not necessarily a war, but he has a mountain of people dead
Yeah.
under his name. So it's almost like a war in many ways,
Yeah.
which to me just justifies people trying to kill him. So it's sort of you have to think about that.
So I guess it depends, like what type of villain are they? Have they killed anybody, or have they just caused suffering?
Because if it's okay to kill for a war, then we have to clarify what a war means.
Yeah.
I think it's
or
a
like you could
different
kill
thing.
to prevent a war.
I think it's a different thing. I think it's different when it's like against one person versus an army of people who is like set on destroying you and the people that you love.
But then like we know exceptions to that, like Thanos, clearly.
He has an army though.
Yeah, but even if he was alone, I still think you
Yes.
should kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like one person can set off a bunch of things, and if you have the knowledge of that, then I wholeheartedly, you should kill that person before anything starts. Like before.
I think it's more so the amount of power you wield versus the amount of people there are.
Yeah, I agree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For the villain, like
For the villain,
Yeah.
Okay.
what if they use that? Well, I guess they're a villain, so they're gonna use it for bad.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. There is a surefire way to completely stop the villains from ever killing again.
Disagree.
Okay. All of us agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the statement, obviously killing them's not an option, right?
Oh.
There's
Oh, yeah, that was my thought. There is an option. I just don't think it's a good option.
No. I sorry. I should amend the statement. Sorry.
Okay.
There is a way to stop the villains without killing them from them ever killing again. God, I'm sorry, but do you guys get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Yes or no? Just your gut instinct. Okay. I would imagine OC actually thinks that there is, because like he's on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a realist.
Okay, yep. So
You're limited.
what do you guys think?
Honestly, mine is very graphic, I guess. The way for, like, in my thought process, the way for them to not kill anybody else is one, take away all their powers. In addition to, if they have like physical abilities, then you cut off their arms and limbs.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they're literally just stagnant
Yeah,
and suffering.
But then if you have someone like Kingpin, who's got the moolah, and being like, you help me kill this guy, or I kill your family. You know what I mean? Like, you guys watch Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's essentially what he did the entire time. He doesn't need arms for that. He just needs the ability to speak and have money.
But that's still him killing people, right? That's indirectly. That's
Yeah,
him
you know what? I don't know why I
doing
agree
that.
with this. This is I should probably be in disagree.
So for me, it's for me, it's you gotta like cut off all their mobility and like powers. They can't have powers and they can't be like mobile.
I mean, I guess it really does. I guess is another one. It depends. I guess I mean, biased to Avatar, you know, with the whole taking away people's bending away. I feel like if there's a way like that, it's a possible thing. And I do think that although people like Kingpin, for example, they can use whatever they can to hurt people, we've seen that Kingpin had like trauma and stuff like that. So I think as long as you can put these heroes or villains in a situation where they can vilify their trauma and limit their stuff, they will try to make good decisions. And that's what we see a lot with these villains, is that they actually are people wanting to make good decisions, but they struggle with it. So you can figure out the struggle, you can solve it. That's how I feel.
Okay, so I clearly didn't know my stance before even saying the statement. I just mentioned it with Kingpin. I think there's not a surefire way, because there's always a way. If there's communication to the outside world, there's always a way for a villain to like get someone killed if they have power.
Yeah, it depends on to the extent that we're talking about, because we saw like even how incapable of movement or deformed the robot was in Invincible, yet he was still able to control like the robot and then eventually get his own body back. So like depending on the world that we're talking about, there are certain extents that people can go to, and even in the real world, as long as somebody is able to communicate, they can inflict harm on people.
Okay. So in short, for me, it really is just right before they die. That's the only way.
Like, mute them.
You cut off
to
their
the pain
tongue.
from
That's fair.
Princess Bride.
Yeah,
That's
you cut off their
fair.
tongue. You cut out their eyeballs.
Take
you
all their money away.
That's fair.
everything. So maybe I should have been disagree.
I mean, again, I really think that it does depend, because I do feel like we've also seen situations where villains become heroes or whatsoever and stuff like that. So I really think it depends. But as far as, I guess you can say, surefire for every villain, of course not. I mean, some villains are just, they're out of it, and that's where the killing comes in.
All right.
Right.
Light Yagami, his philosophy is right. By killing more criminals, less people will be committing crimes.
I mean, I guess.
Okay, I feel like we see this in anime and just a lot of shows in general. It's just like the villains are always taking hostages or doing stuff that they can do because they know the hero is not going to kill them. If they knew that, they probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. If there's an example of the punishment you will get if you become a criminal and it's like a beheading, I definitely think less people will want to do it, especially if it's, affecting other people. And, criminals incite other criminals, but if there's less and less criminals, then there's no one else to incite.
Yeah, I think that just as a logistics, like numbers wise, yes, there will be less people committing crimes. But I don't think that's necessarily going to inspire less people to commit crimes.
People will be more fearful of it because that's what
Yeah.
happened in Death Note as well. But
Yeah.
the issue still is people who are mentally ill, or people don't always do crime because they see other people doing crime.
And it might create more sophisticated crimes that would be difficult to trace. Also, at the end of the day, the biggest criminal is the one who's doling out the punishment solely. So, like, I don't know necessarily if the number of crimes is going to go down, but the number of people committing crimes will go down.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. Although it'd be interesting to see that what if that world happened and most people who commit crimes were just using death notes now? So it'd be like death notes using death notes. I feel like there will be a lot of deaths for sure.
Gotham will definitely improve if Batman killed all the criminals. Okay, this ties back to obviously the Joker and any criminal big villain in Gotham, right? They are killing people, and they're making the streets dirty. They're the ones that are causing the people to suffer, basically.
I know it was pretty dark comparing the whole world, but as far as Gotham was, inside Justice League, I think it was the animated series, they showed the Justice Lord, and literally that Batman goes to Batman like, Gotham is such a nicer, prettier place. You even see the Joker, and the Joker is like hella like basically submissive, if you will, in the whole thing. So like
got lobotomized by Superman.
Yeah, lobotomized. He's just like, oh, here stuff, don't want to hurt any stuff. But the point is that Gotham was just very nice. It was very safe, and it definitely looked better than our normal Gotham.
Yeah.
So
I think if Batman killed all the villains that were in Gotham, Gotham would have the chance to rise and really reshape itself. They wouldn't be focusing on fighting crime, but they would be focusing on improving their infrastructure and everything else.
So here's my argument. The reason that I disagree that just killing all the bad guys would make Gotham a better place is because what you will do then is you'll create more villains the more you kill them. Because it only takes one person who cares about this person who was just killed by Batman to now vow for revenge and vengeance, especially if they have access to whatever powers or tools that the original villain was using. We all know how what happened when Spider-Man quote unquote killed Goblin in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. So yeah, that type of thing, it will continue to happen. You can't really stop that. You end up creating a domino effect when you kill a villain, and you don't know what that domino effect is going to lead to. That's basically my point.
In some ways, I definitely agree. I do think that can happen, but if we're talking the specifics, I feel like no one in their right mind would try to oppose Batman. And if Batman's killed...
No, people would. People definitely do. They do, though.
Yeah, they do, but like a Batman that kills, I feel like Gotham
They
would...
still, like, I can imagine, like, if Deathstroke had, like, a vengeance reason to destroy Batman because he killed somebody that he cared about.
Yeah, but Batman and Deathstroke have fought, and Batman won, so he'd be dead.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be
basically.
afraid to go against him, is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair. But I do feel like Batman's ideal of like, okay, striking fear into the enemies, that's why he wears the Batsuit. If he killed,
Because
he'd
he wants
strike
to-
even more fear.
Exactly.
No, but he wants to avoid getting to that extreme. He doesn't want to have to kill them, so he's like, be scared of me.
I agree with what you're saying. It's just, in my head, I think Gotham would just be a better place if he just took out the villains.
I mean, the only exception and where I kind of agree with OC's rules, if you look at technically the Justice League or the Snyderverse Batman, where he kills and Gotham is still not the greatest place ever. That being said, again, I still agree the fact that there would be less crime, and that's what we're basically saying. Because even if the villains have to want to kill Batman, they're gonna have to get smarter, and only less villains will do that. And even if they outsmart Batman, Batman's always prepared. So it's just like it's gonna be less crime in general. That's just what we would say.
Yeah, I stand by my first statement.
All right, so closing thoughts from everyone, and then we are pretty much done with this. Did anyone sort of, after that whole discussion, did anyone sort of feel like they're leaning more towards one side or the other? The original statement was like, is Batman's rule foolish? Is the whole like not killing villains thing that we see in all superhero stuff usually, is that a dumb rule? I still agree that it is a dumb rule. I still think it is. How about you guys?
I mean, I go back to the first stance, what I said, where, yeah, for the Gotham or DC world, for sure, but in real life, I 100% with Batman. So
Yeah, making it a foolish rule, it makes sense in the context of a superhero film where, you know, like you brought up the MCU, where they don't really make qualms about whether or not this guard who is shooting at them is killed or whatever. But I think in real life, if you bring that philosophy into the real world, there are a lot of problems. So
which is very interesting because I feel like in the comics, I 100% agree that Batman should just wipe them out, or just heroes should wipe out the villains that are obviously killing people. Like that seems super obvious to me. But if it were reality, and we're talking about villains that have enormous power, we just don't see that, you know. So it's hard to have the same stance, I feel. So that's why it differs. Those are just our thoughts in general.
Yeah.
There are a lot of gray areas in this discussion, and obviously we don't have the same stance for every single case. There's going to be different opinions on different things. So that's just going to be it for this discussion. It was fun, right?
Yeah.
yeah, this is good.
Definitely morally ambiguous. It was
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.